Hello everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. I have been thinking about making this one particular video for quite a while. I've been tossing the idea around because it's going to be a very controversial video. But I had a viewer ask me to make it, so here I am. Today we are going to can milk. Yes, you heard me right. Milk. This is straight from the grocery store. You can use any type of milk. You can even use fresh milk. You can use goat's milk. The process is exactly the same. Just because something is not USDA or FDA approved to do at home does not mean it's not safe. Untested is not unsafe. My kitchen, my rules, I do what I feel comfortable with, and if you don't feel comfortable with it, then by all means, please don't do it. Your kitchen, your rules. But today, I'm going to show you the simplest way that I have found to preserve milk for long term. Simply open the gallon of milk. I have my jars. They're clean. They've recently come out of the dishwasher and they're cold. Okay, it's very important they need to be cold. Okay, my milk is cold. The water that I have in my canner right here is cold. You have to do everything low and slow so you don't ruin your milk. So the only special thing to do is pour it in there. Leave your headspace. Get a wet paper towel. Wipe the rims. Now this is where I differ from a lot of people. A lot of people use vinegar on their paper towels even when they're doing milk. I don't. Because when something has a little bit of moisture to it, whenever you wipe it, inevitably sometimes you're going to get a drop or two go down inside your jar. You know, I'm not willing to take that risk because if you're not familiar with what happens when you put vinegar in milk, it turns into buttermilk. So I do not want to can buttermilk. Okay. So I've got my inch headspace. I've got my lid on my jar. And it's finger tight. And I'm just simply going to set it over into the canner. Then I go on to my next jar. Do you ever go to the grocery store and you see great deals on milk that's close dated? Maybe tomorrow or the next day? And you think, there's no way I can use that much milk unless I'm going to be making an ice cream or a lot of puddings or something like that. This is the perfect way to preserve that. Yeah, you can freeze it. That's not a big deal. But gallons of milk take up lots of space in your freezer. And what happens if you have a major power outage? You've lost what's in your freezer, unless you have a generator. We had an issue like that last weekend, but we were without power for over a day. Thankfully, we have a generator. But, you know, back to the point. If I had my milk sitting in the jars, I can sit it right on my pantry shelf. Never have to worry about it because this will stay good for up to 2 years. And that is just, it's phenomenal because I use a lot of canned evaporated milk. This is not the process for that. I'm in the process of learning that and testing it, and I will be bringing a video on that out soon. But I'm not going to put all the milk in there. The kids still need some for cereal tomorrow. But I just wanted to get this preserved so I didn't have to worry about it. I have some empty spaces in my canner, and I'm just going to fill them up with empty jars. I'm going to fill the empty jars up with water so they're not bouncing around. We don't want this to be counterproductive. We don't want to break a jar. Okay. And normally, guys, you'll see me putting white vinegar in my jars to keep the white film off of the jars. Well, I have learned that there is something that's a little easier and less corrosive. That is cream of tartar. It is supposed to work just as well as the vinegar. This is my test video on this one. We'll see. I haven't tried it. It said just a pinch, so I've got probably 1/8 of a teaspoon. To me, that's probably a pinch. And I'm just going to throw it in there, and we'll see. So, as you can see, I've got my jars in there. So now, all that I'm going to do is to turn the stove on, and normally whenever I'm getting ready to can something, I will put it on a high temperature to try to get it up to heat really fast so I can start the canning process. You do not do this with milk. Okay, you do low and slow. The prep work is cold, 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 and the process is low and slow. Okay, remember that one. But I'm going to put it on about medium heat, and I'm going to put the top on my canner. Then I'm going to bring it up until it starts to steam, and then I'll show you what I'm doing from there. Okay, folks. My canner has started to vent, and I'm going to let it vent for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to put the jiggler on there. Okay, the canner has been venting for 10 minutes, so I'm going to put my 10-pound weight on. Okay, just going to set it right there. Okay. And it's already up to pressure. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this little thing right here start to jingle, the little regulator. And once it starts to jingle, folks, we turn the canner off. We don't process it any longer. That is the process. It does not matter if you use half pints, quarts. The process is identical whenever you're canning milk. So we're just going to sit here and wait and turn it off and let that temperature drop, and then we're going to see what we've got in here. See how it works. Okay, the jiggler has started jiggling, so we are up to 10 pounds of pressure. I turn the stove off, and we're going to let the temperature drop and let everything cool, and then I'm going to leave it sitting in there for a few minutes afterwards. That way nothing siphons or anything. I'm trying to play super by the rules on canning this milk. I'll show what it looks like when it comes out of the canner. Okay, the canner has been sitting here for probably about 45 minutes after the pressure's dropped. So let's take my weight off. And see how this is going to look. I think I'm going to have to set you down for a second. Okay, folks, they have all sealed. So I'm just going to leave them sitting there in that water and let them cool down and take them out in the morning. But yeah, I'm very pleased with that. And like I was saying earlier, you can set these on your pantry shelf. They're good for up to 2 years. You can do them in whatever size you want. That way, if you're in a situation where you don't have refrigeration, you've got something small to contend with rather than a gallon of milk and lose it all. But folks, that is canning milk. Again, it is not USDA approved, but that doesn't mean it's not safe. Do your own research and do what you feel comfortable with in your kitchen. But for me and mine, hey, this is a great thing. Alrighty. Even though I plan on leaving these in the canner to totally cool tonight, I wanted to get one out and show you folks. Straight from the canner, you can still see it steaming, but it didn't discolor or anything. But isn't that beautiful? All right. Thanks for watching. That's it.